I'm Member George, and this is my capstone activity, a Honeycomb Composite. It's a two-part project where students are going to first create their own composite after doing some research, so it's very inquiry-based led. Then for part two, students are going to get a set of instructions to create their own Honeycomb Composite prototype and then compare the two with the recorded data. So here are the handouts. This is the student-led one. And then we have the honeycomb directions to create the engineered composite. So for the first one, students completing the pre-activity questions, researching, then sketching his design idea. And here he is engineering his composite design. A composite, by the way, is a combination of two or more materials that when combined have a better strength than their individual parts. So he's obtaining the weight of the prototype, testing to failure, obtaining the weight of the load capacity, and then finding the strength to weight ratio. This is what it looks like on the handout. After the first handout actually discusses a little bit about composites for our material science class. So again, the pre-activity questions, advantages and disadvantages of materials. They're planning out what it would look like, testing the results. So here's a sketch of what the result looked like, recording the weight, finding the strength to weight ratio, which was 96, and then analyzing the class results. So he analyzed his project. If we had more students, we would obviously go through the class and look at the different prototypes that were created and their strength to weight ratios and have a discussion about that. So then he's going to follow the instructions, and this is what that PowerPoint looks like to create a honeycomb composite. So here he is following the steps and creating his honeycomb composite with the same amount of materials that he was given for that first prototype. So now here he is testing the load bearing capacity. The first one only got 1.5 pounds, but you can see with this engineered honeycomb shape that he was able to actually get 54.4 pounds stacked on top of just tape and paper. Now he's going to take that data that he collected and find the strength to weight ratio for this new composite. Finally, we're going to discuss vocabulary of biomimicry and watch a video about biomimicry in the engineering process and look at real-world examples and answer post-lab questions comparing the two composites that were created. So this is what that handout would look like completed. So this project transitions from one discipline to the next in a natural fashion. So we've got science with the terminology of biomimicry and the video on that, technology and the measuring tools like ruler and the different scales that were used. Engineering was introduced in the process of creating prototypes 1 and 2, along with real world examples. Mathematics was taught through obtaining the strength to weight ratio. So it followed the science and engineering practices fairly well, kind of with the developing of models, interpreting the data, going through the mathematical computation, the design solutions, the evidence that was obtained. One area that would be enhanced, obviously, is the communication if students were able to work in these groups and discuss their design ideas and compare their results with teams. So again, the questioning, designing and planning out, developing using the models from the sketching to the actual physical models. He was evaluating the data that was collected from both prototypes and analyzing them. This would be enhanced, obviously, this area if he was working in a small group and then all of the groups were actually able to compare their data to each other. I think that would definitely enhance this. So we have mathematics, like I said, information technology and computational thinking utilized in this. And then the science vocabulary happened after the science lesson with the vocabulary of biomimicry being introduced. So again, I rated it highly here. The only thing that I think that I would obviously enhance is the moving around the room and the guiding questions that would be utilized with a larger group. And then this is my citations.